Hello everyone, to a new Show Me Your Build. It's been forever, hasn't it? Well, I'm going to explain a bit, just because we have so many new people since then, but the way I function when it comes down to Show Me Your Build is quite simple. The rules are all laid out on the videos on both sides. You can just pause it and read it. We do this on Discord. I choose people. It's going to be, instead of being bi-monthly like it used to be, I'm going to do this monthly, because I realize that if I just keep doing this bi-weekly, I'm literally running myself in the ground. The main problem I run into is just the fact that, well, at the start of every month, there's always a surge of content that I have to cover, and covering 4, sometimes 5 videos at once, that's actually horrible. But yeah, so let's get going. I only picked 12 this time since it's the first time I'm touching this in forever, so bear with me a little. First one is from Bartre Dio God. It's an attack plus Eirika, which, let me read. Working on this Eirika, basically trying to get hit and hit them, get the blue flame with flashing blade and kill them. By the way, I have Micaiah with odd attack wave and Bartre with death wave next to her most of the time. Also, can I get a tip on a good B skill for her? Well, I mean, since you have attack and death covered, and this frees up your C skill, what I would suggest is maybe just give her a speed res link. That way you can buff your speed and defense, as well as your friend's speed and defense. Then you can run swap, combo both of them together for a solid 12 all around. If you have Caden on the team, you can actually hit 18 across the board pretty well. Other than that, like I said, you can just give speed res link to her. That's still a good option. If you do so, your C skill should be not a wave skill. Honestly, ideally at that point, what you should be running for your C skill would be attack smoke, I'd say. If it's not attack smoke, it should be a drive. As for the rest of the set, it looks fine. If you're not running speed res link, ideal choice would be no follow-up, so your speed is not completely wasted. It makes you a bit more consistent overall, and well, it also makes Blue Flame more useful. Because otherwise, ooh, Bullfighter, I get hit twice, the second hit might proc a skill, and I die. It's not really a pretty picture, is it? But yeah, everything else looks fine. It's really just B skill should be no follow-up or speed res link, and C skill should be just a smoke skill, or, well, a drive. It's pretty flexible. If you do not, well, actually no follow-up should be your option if you're going to run for a rally. That's just as easy as it is. So, alright, let's move on to Robin Shigure, also attack plus. And he or she says, this Shigure is attack plus HP minus. HP minus was already gone at that point, so there's no 3 HP to add. The build is, as you can see, player phase, though I might need to work on that since Desperation is more of an enemy phase move? What? Okay. Anyway, it gets by, but overall, since I have Aether, Slaying Lance should help get hell faster. So, first off, Desperation works on player phase, not on enemy phase. It allows you to go for 2 hits in a row, straight up, without your enemy having a chance to hit back first, between blows. That's what it does. It's player phase, not enemy phase. Swiss Sparrow is also player phase, so they combo well together. Now, the problem I have with this is attack speed bond is a more enemy phase oriented thing, And if you're running attack speed bond, there's very, very, very few characters that can actually use this consistently. My point being, if you have to move to attack and, you know, you want to take maximum advantage of this, you have to move someone next to where you're going to be attacking from, and then you'll be able to use it. It's not great, so here's what I would suggest you. Get rid of it completely. Hell, just run a heavy blade. Hell, also something I would do is just, well, switch Swift Sparrow as well. Now, to put it simply, Death Blow 4 would help you score better in Arena, not to mention it would be more consistently useful. You'd hit 60 attack, 66 attack with attack tactic, and your speed would not even suffer all that much. If you think your speed would not be good enough with Death Blow, well, you could just run Darting Blow Seal, which would hurt your score a little, but at the end of the day, you'd be able to, you know, have 8 attack and 6 speed. And you don't really need it all that much, because 43 speed, add to that, like, say, Rally Speed Res or Speed Def, which are both available for free, should push your speed up to 46. 46 speed is more than enough to double most of the meta when it comes onto this game, and the only time you're going to need more speed than this are going to be abyssal maps, which, honestly, speedsters are not having a fun time on those maps typically. But it's still workable. Again, you can just run Darting Blow for this. If you have Speed Tactic, or own Flyers, depending on what team comp you have, literally no point in hell to run Swift Sparrow on this guy. So, Death Blow 4 would get you to 60-43, 66-49 if buffed. Heavy Blade with 66 attack would be allowing you to charge a lot easier. Not to mention, if you want, you can also go for a more player phase set. Aether can actually fuck up Desperation. That's bad, because if you end up not having access to Desperation when it matters, and you get killed for it, well, yeah. Typically Desperation, you want to stay in Desperation range. Ideally, since you're using Saying Lance, and with this set you'd be running Heavy Blade, you'd be able to proc Gale Force as long as what you're fighting has 65 attack or less and you kill them, one under Desperation. That's basically most units. The only units you're going to be struggling with are going to be Wary Fighter users and Greens. And mind you, Green are fairly abundant, but a lot of units such as Halloween Myrrh you'll be able to possibly dent or kill depending on the situation. So yeah. Attack Smoke looks fine. It lets you just attack something, possibly kill it, then with Desperation possibly get another kill or just bait safely. It really comes down to the situation. So yeah, not much else to say. Seal should be Heavy Blade, and that's one of the reasons why you want to go Attack Plus when it comes down to Shigure, because you can't have Flashing Blade. Your only option is Heavy Blade, and any other seal kind of struggles in a sense that they don't really work too well with this type of unit. If we had Death Blow as a seal, which God forbid, let's not make that happen, that would be another story. However, that's not the case. Hell, if you want a budget option, because Death Blow 4 is expensive, you could just run a Brazen skill. Brazen Attack Death does a fine job here, and you'd be hitting 65 attack instead, with a 7 extra defense. And it combos into Desperation quite well. You could also just add 2 Brazens together instead. It's a bit less consistent on the Gale Force side, but you gain a lot more damage overall. So, you know, a solid 66 to 72 attack depending on attack tactic or not, which is fairly easily used. So, you know. Not to mention you're getting another attack from Flowers on the very next, I think, yeah, on the very next Flower Merge, so that's pretty good. So let's move on to the Attack Plus Lachesis from Mikaya's Spice Latte. Is that right? Yeah, okay. And she says, might as well upload mine now. This is my Lachesis, currently in progress of merging her to +10. She's my main ranged check in AR and PvE. Thanks to her double distant defense, Absorb, and Miracle, she becomes quite bulky with little to no support. The entire kit is based around the property of the Absorb staff, Lachesis' natural eye bulk, allowing her to effectively wall off ranged threats. I run her with my Titania, who provides her with attack def res tactic for added tankiness. With these buff and her distant defenses, she reaches an astonishing 42 def and 50 res, more than enough for most ranged threats. That one is a bit shaky, but for the defense, mostly res looks fine. Her boon is attack to get more HP back with Absorb, making Miracle and QR more consistent, reachable, and maintainable. And if anyone is curious, her ally support is with Finn. Well, that's a good pick on the support. Honestly, though, what I would do is change the B skill and Seal skill. 4250 is good and all, however, there is something that is really important if you're dealing with ranged threats. Buffs. Now, if you're with a team that can actually deal panic fairly easily, that's a non-issue. However, if you're anything else, then this changes a lot of things. The point is, you want to have quick riposte on your seal. It kills a bit of your bulk, yes. However, what this allows you to run in your B skill is dual ranged, which means any mage using blade tones, which are very consistently used in AR, will be basically shafted. It gives you more options against those, because frankly, if you're going to deal with a blade tome with 80 attack, you're dead meat. It doesn't matter if you have Absorb or not, you're going to be taking 30 times 2. The only way for you to heal enough would be to almost one-shot the enemy character, which is just not happening. So dual range could be a good option to remedy this. Another thing you could want to do instead is to get rid of Distant Def 3 again, and run Attack Def Bond, giving you more attack. And while you don't really need all the res in the world, except against Reinhardt possibly, if he has a special charge, well, this gives you an extra 5 attack and 5 defense. So you basically get the same against ranged foes, but on top of that, you get an extra 5 attack to heal yourself up some more, which is definitely helpful here. So, yeah. Not much else to say. Other than this, it's a pretty good set. Quick Riposte 3, though, would be pretty nice. The problem with Lachesis, and that's really your biggest problem, is the fact that if her HP gets under Quick Riposte range, you're basically done. There's nothing you can do. You can't do much with the character at that point. There's really not much you can do. Not because she's bad, but because she's extremely reliant on Quick Riposte. So giving her the extra 10% in her case, really important. Really, really important. Speaking of Finn, let's move on to the next character. This is Emotional Distress's Finn. And he or she says, Finn. He's on Horsewind Emblem with Gunshot to increase his res a bit so he doesn't die as fast. Well, I mean, he's already bulky enough in defense. I can think of many cases where you won't really need the 4 res. The 3 HP is pretty nice though. I plan to make him my Grail project, so he's only at 1% power at the moment. Also Heavy Blade 1 since I'm unable to afford tier 3. I'm kind of surprised you haven't upgraded Heavy Blade yet. It's one of the best, easily one of the best seal out there. Now see you're running Brave Lance with Heavy Blade. That's horrible. No offense, but you're going to be struggling on that one, easily. What I would do instead is get rid of his weapon and switch that to Slaying Lance. It's one of the main reasons why when I did my weapon theory crafting for Finn, I did not want it to be a brave weapon at base. I wanted it to be an extra effect. Because Finn's speed is really good. Like, it's at a really good spot to be solid. You have 34 base speed after the first merge, but you want that speed to really, you know, be useful. That's not really the case the way it is with Brave Lance. You can't run a Brave Lance with him effectively, unless it's a -2 speed, but even then, it's a bit of a iffy subject. That's why I went for a slaying weapon with a brave effect depending on the situation. When I did this, we're fine, but to go back here, slaying lance would be better for you, because first off, you get back 5 speed, but second, you also get to refine it for speed. For example, your 30 speed just jumps to 38 right there. Then you buff him with, say, own cavalry, and you're at 44 speed. This gives you a lot more room to play around. Not to mention, you get an extra 6 attack. So you're at 55 attack, plus an extra 6 from own cavalry. You're looking at 61 attack. That's a lot better. And that just jumps all the way up to 65. Pretty quick. So, if you do switch to Slaying Lance, Desperation is honestly ideal. Heavy Blade will be more consistent, also because of Slaying. And because you're running Slaying, even if you're on Desperation, Gale Force will just proc anyway. If you get to hit twice, it procs. That's all it is. There's nothing more to it. So, you know. As it is, it's just 30 speed is not going to push you far. Yes, you might quad an enemy here and there, but it won't be consistently helpful, is what I'm talking about. So, yeah. Let's move on. This is Tactician Magician, there we go. Grima. It's his attack plus Grima. I stuck with attack plus as it works well with most build. The build is designed to potentially double on both phase, reducing overall damage taken from combat. Usually getting hit twice to obscure, so by pushing speed, I not only can avoid doubles on enemy phase, but I will not be affected by skills like no follow-up. I run a mixed team with Male Robin and normal Mar for buffs and drives, but an armored team works just as well. 1 speed buff puts him well above 40 speed in enemy phase. Most units on team also run drive speed. I do have the skill for the build. Warding Breath Bullfighter with Quick Riposte Seal. This build is more experimental. Note, I'm planning to on giving him Darting Breath when they release it, as the special cooldown would help. But for now, 4 extra def will do. Any advice would be appreciated. Well, this looks fine. I'm not sure how useful Soul is going to be, however. I would honestly just go for Aether. Yes, it's good that you attack, get hit, and then proc. However, if it's a skill such as Soul, the main problem you're going to run into is, well, let's put it simple, alright? You hit for like 3/4 of its health, get hit, and then proc on like a remaining 10 HP or 15 HP. You're gonna only heal for 5 or 7. You're healing for literal peanuts. Aether, on the other hand, you attack, get hit, attack again, maybe the enemy attack again unless he's dead, which probably is the case because you're sitting at 66 attack, probably even more with buffs. So the situation is, you have Aether ready on enemy phase, you get attacked, you have 66 or 72 attack to just smash them with. Proccing Aether is typically going to kill your enemy unless they have some really high rest stat, and not only will you take less damage from, say, Bold Fighter or any other skill that would allow them to double, but you'll also be able to heal yourself for far more. It's just more consistent than Soul will be. That's just my opinion, though. As for steady posture and darting stance, that looks fine. Not much else I can say. Ideally, though, you would probably want to have something to buff your res. Though you did say you had Marth and Male Robin, so that's probably 39 res. If you can run drive speed and drive res on Marth, that would be ideal. 43 speed becomes actually fairly difficult to double, but more important than this, you also hit a threshold of 42 res, and, well, 47 def. It's pretty good. At that point you become fairly tanky, Aether will be more consistently helpful, and you also have more stats that you can get through flowers, which is going to be taking it a bit of time, I realize, but oh well. Other than that, I don't really have much to say. Drive speed should be replaced though, unless you want to have speed for your other characters around the team. Because if you run something like Attack Smoke with the amount of bulk you already have, that would be a much better move for you. Because at that point, it's just, well, alright. If I remove 7 attack, I basically have an effective 49 defense. And what, like... Oh, actually, I forgot to add steady posture. 58 def. 58 def and 49 res. That's pretty goddamn good. I don't remember which one of the stance skill is speed and res, but in this case it might also be a good idea. That's just an idea I'm throwing out there. So yeah, not much else to say. So let's move on. Oh boy, I remember this person having a name that's really difficult to pronounce. Hopefully I'm not butchering this, but I think this is Prefe? Resistance plus Summer Leo. All investment going toward absorbing any magical damage that is dealt. Mystic Boost puts him back in QR range if necessary, as well as cucking dragons from scratching him by forcing them to hit his rest stat of 55. Attack ploy to further down the attack of any magic users, so you can tank even better an iceberg to 1-round KO any fast mage that dares to enter his presence. Okay, first off, you have too much res. You already are looking at 54 res right now, because, let's be honest, you're not going to find many units that attack ploy won't work on. So, yeah, you're looking at 54 res, and then on top of this you can add, like, say, res tactic, that's 60 res. You don't need 66 res, at that point it's just absolutely overkill. No, if I were to give you any idea, I would say run close counter, because that way it doesn't make him just a, you know, just a mage counter, but also a dragon counter. Because at that point, characters like Alwyn Mur, even if they double you, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, well, you're just looking at 58 attack, hitting you twice, or rather hitting them twice, while they do just ting-ting on you, unless they are legendary Tiki who's blue. So, yeah. Special Fighter might be a nuisance though, so be careful. Other than that, it's pretty good. I don't have much else to say here. It's just, like I said, take full advantage of the fact that he's a res tank that can actually take on dragons. Just my 2 cents. Besides, attack res solo is not really ideal for him. If you're going to go for anything, it should be a bond skill, since you want to have characters around him. Unless you're dealing with a Versa, which... that's AR in a nutshell, isn't it? Alright, let's move on to Ismail Emblem Speed Plus Roy. Speedbond, confirm well, lol. He's a good boy. Now, I'm pretty sure I said this already in the Discord, but I'm gonna reiterate this. Do not do this. A speed boon on Roy is wasted. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Look, you're looking at a character who has 54 speed. 54! You have no clue how overkill this is. You don't need... Oh my god. You don't need 54 speed. 51 speed is still overkill. And that's neutral. Huh? For Def Res and No Follow Up are good moves. It's just, if you're going to be running No Follow Up, what you'll want is possibly just Rest Plus, so you can deal with dragons a bit easier, taking a bit less damage from them. Or Attack Plus to just one-shot more things and have a more consistently useful damage output. But that's just me. Def is also pretty solid considering most of the meta is green or red. There's really not many blue. Like, the only relevant blue unit nowadays that is not Ophelia, because Ophelia is the most broken unit that have come out of 2018. That's not even a hot take at this point. Like, if you have played Aether Raids for more than 2 minutes, you know this. You know this. Ophelia's fucking everywhere because she's insane. Anyway, honestly, Reinhardt is just a cheap bitch in comparison. Anyway, with that out of the way, so yeah. If you're talking about Arena, the only blue that matters is Legendary Tiki for multiple reasons, mostly the fact that she has 180 base BST, which is great and all. This is one of the reasons I wanted to plus 10 her, outside of the fact that she's extremely wholesome. But like, remove Tiki and tell me what blue unit do you see? Like Effie, Gwen, Day 1 units? What? Like, I literally have not seen a single blue outside of those 3. Other than, say, like, the fucking bonus unit of the week. Or Fjorm, because it's Fjorm. It's that pathetic. Like, it's really that pathetic. So, his color typing is actually really good as a result. And frankly, the few unit you're going to be seeing, maybe the occasional Brave Hector, are not going to be that dangerous. They're going to be dangerous if you didn't have no follow-up, but you do, so yeah. Yeah. Just basically fixing the boon is the main issue. Please fix it. Alright, next up is Corrin's Corrin Mail. Whoop. Oops. And he or she, I have no clue, says, here's my mail. Corrin build, this is non-arena build. Finally complete and was given him 5 flowers, chose not to give him a 6th yet. His arena build is simply the support Yado, rally def speed, a drive def as the only difference, as I don't really have anything available to make it more than that. One done, he will have another set of +1 to every stat from Dragon Flowers. Aside from that, he is a beast of a unit in my opinion. It's kind of funny, a lot of people still remembers the fact that I used to really point out the fact that Corrin was actually a sleeper hit back when he was first released. Well, not first released, but rather at toward more the start of the game. And I actually put him pretty high up because his stat line is deceptively good, like really deceptively good, especially with speed plus, especially now. Like, I don't care what you think about the Yato Refine, the fact that it changes the base effect to 2 all around is insanely useful. Doesn't matter. Everything else doesn't matter. The fact that it just gives 2 to every stat, that just pumps him into ridiculous heights. As you can see here, because, well, I mean, you're basically looking at 38-38 bulk-wise with 58-45, and this is without buffs. Yeah, he's a bit nasty. That said, if you're going to stick with this set, I would say 2 things. You might want to have either Mystic Boost, because you're using Gale Force. The main reason why Mystic Boost and not Desperation or something like this, Yato is not a cooldown -1, so you want to actually take a hit so you can actually proc Gale Force. Mystic Boost is a way to keep your HP high, just like Renewal, but more consistent. Not to mention, it doesn't interfere with the fact you're taking a hit. Actually, it helps. It also completely deals with Fury, though Fury in general is a bit of a iffy subject here. Honestly, I would be running a Brazen with this. I would be running Brazen Death Res, if I were you. But that's only if you're going to be running, you know, something that is not Mystic Boost. Which, if you are, no follow-up should be a good option, because it also breaks stuff like Wary Fighter, so units like Surtur have no choice but to take the hit. Or, what you could do if you do want to run Mystic Boost, going back to Mystic Boost now, would be to run Bonus Doubler. Because if you have Bonus Doubler, well, you lose 3 to all stats, yes, because you don't have Fury. However, if you have something like 6 attack, 6 def, 6 speed, and you're... no, 6 attack, 6 def, 6 res, you're looking at 47 def, 47 res, and, to top it all off, 67 attack. Your speed is fine, and you really don't even need speed tactic at this point. You could just have a random double rally with speed being one of the 2, boosting your speed from 42 to 48, and you're more than good enough. You don't really need more. You become a lot bulkier, you don't take the recoil damage, Mystic Boost will be more consistently helpful, and yeah, it's probably the ideal set I would be running on him. Other than this, you'll be wanting to run Brazen Death Res instead of Fury, if you want a more budget option, since Melkana does give the skill. And B skill really depends, honestly. Wrath would be a good option, but that would not be a good option with Gale Force. Maybe Escape Route, because he actually can take a good amount of beating. And with Death Res, well, Brazen Death Res, it can actually serve as a shield to any other unit through Escape Route. Just basically throwing ideas at this point. But yeah, not much else to say. So let's move on. This is Suave Goose's Nana, and she is Speed Plus, as obvious as this is. And he says, God, I keep clicking off my archives. That's annoying. He says, this is Nana, and she decided to take a page out of Awakening's book and let bonds give her strength. See a scary unit you don't like the idea of hitting any of your beloved heroes? Just let Nana walk up and hit them with flash. Got panicked? Nana can fix that problem too. With 50 speed and that 67-68 bulk, she'll be hard to kill in one round, even if you put her in a risky situation. Now, there's a bit of a problem with this. If you're going to be dealing with Bolt Fighter, your speed is absolutely irrelevant. But also 50 speed is a bit too much, I feel like. You're going to be hitting 46 speed even without the attack speed bond seal. Honestly, if you're going to be running any bond seal, I would say attack def bond would be ideal. Just because her def is a bit shaky. 33 def would be a lot more consistently helpful. Though, again, Bold Fighter is still a danger. Still, as for everything else, it looks fine. She does have no way to heal herself, which is a bit scary, but I mean, you could just run lift to serve if you actually do need a way to heal yourself. Other than that, it looks fine. Though, actually, why are you running Def Tactic? You already have a bomb buffing attack def +6 to anyone, like, every 2 turns. It's kind of pointless, honestly. Ideally, I would say Rest Tactic could be ideal, or Speed Tactic, because she really doesn't need the speed herself. But Def Tactic is just kind of redundant, I guess would be the best way to put it. I'd say maybe a Drive if something else, because she is a support unit at the end of the day, so drives would be more consistently helpful. But that's just me. So, yeah, let's move on to the last 3. This is CJ's Adoun, and he says, Attack plus Def minus Adoun. I had to reread her weapon a few times because I was very tired and unsure of how it fully worked. After many reads and some testing, I settled on with this build. Since she gets +4 to all stats once sub 100%, I figured her speed would be salvageable enough to try something like this. An upper limit of 44 speed, which, to my disappointment, was considering chill speed, as if the idea of 2 quick units on one team is a very foreign idea, which it's really not. It's really not. She doesn't have 44 speed. She will be paired with, and 48, one I pull for merge and inevitably +10 her on a banner with better rates. Attack ploy is to better neuter effective damage prior to engaging to the point where it won't hurt too bad. I'm debating if I should fish for speed plus or not, since 51 speed seems overkill and milking as much as I can from the effective damage sounds nice. But interference such as buffs from the opposition might make doubling harder on her if I'm unable to panic the buffs without compromising positioning and units. Alright, boy, first off, do not consider chill speed to always hit every unit that should matter. That's not gonna happen. This is why I keep saying chills are not great skills, which, by the way, this is the team comp. This is why I don't tend to consider chill speed to be any kind of good, just because it can be useful, but if you're dealing with 2 characters which has similar stat but just 1 point difference, it's useless. It's gonna be useful for against 1 unit, and if it's the unit in the back, you literally gain fuck all from this. So, what would I do? Well, one of 2 things, really. I could run Rest Tactic on Bartrey instead, and then run instead as your C skill on Est, because she has 36 res, well, Speed Ploy. Or you could just replace Attack Ploy on Adoun for Speed Ploy. She does have enough bulk to make it work. So, you know. Attack speed bond is also iffy at best. I know I said this before, I repeat myself, but bond skills tend to be more good on the defense. If you have to deal with anything on offense, this is a dead A skill. Honestly, if you're going to be using her at all outside of Arena, because Arena has their own dumb rules, Speed plus 3 will just do you much better because it's going to be more consistently helpful. Yes, it's nice to sometimes have an extra 5 attack, but you typically won't get to use it unless you're baiting, which can kind of work considering she's red and she has effective damage against armored units. So if it's an armored green unit, you can just one-shot them to oblivion. But what happens if it's a blue unit? You don't want to bait a bolt fighter, but hey, if you're initiating and you have enough speed, it could work in your favor. That's the same kind of logic here. It doesn't always work in your favor, and that's a problem. Ideally, speed ploy would probably be the best way to go about it. That way you can have 26, 30 because of the weapon, 35 because of speed ploy, and then rally speed def plus buffs it to 41, drive speed to 44, and then a plus 10, 48. It's not really too overkill, and it works out pretty well. Do understand, however... Wait, actually, 30, 35, 41... 45. Oh, drive speed, 48. Drive speed might be a bit less consistent, so speed plus would be a good way to fall back on, so you have a bit more options. Do also understand that if you get panicked, all your buffs are gone. You don't get debuffed, because the debuffs are completely neutralized because of her weapon. I tested it myself. I can assure you that's just how it works. But you won't get the buff either. It won't cure you from panic ploy, it just cures you from any negative stat decrease. So yeah, keep that in mind. You also know that, you know, unless you're, you know, harmed, panicked or something like this, you will not get the 4 across the board. So that's again shaky, which is why speed plus will be honestly ideal for him, for her even. So yeah, not much else to say. Everything else looks fine. Just the chill speed is absolutely irrelevant. If you're going to go for anything, okay? If you're going to go for anything, chill res is what you should go for. That way, well, you're not attack plus anymore, but the one that can actually possibly tank you loses 7. That's actually a huge debuff, which is good. Because high-res units are rare when it comes down to armored units. When it comes down to arena, most unit will have 25, sometimes up to 30 res, which is a non-issue, let's be honest. Because at that point you have attack tactic. Hell, you could probably even replace drive speed for drive attack. And, oh look, 53, 59, 59 against, say, 30 res, because the guy had 37, well, that's 43 damage on the first hit. Actually, no, that's not how it works. My brain is fried. No, you'd be at... 62, so 93 attack. You'd be doing 60 damage. You know. Whatever shall you do. Unless you're dealing with a blue, which Berku's lens can get in the way, and Legendary Tiki is a no. Let's not even try. Because Legendary Tiki basically does everything Adoun does, and better. Because of her stat spread actually including speed. Man, if only Adoun had point put in speed. It's almost like I pointed that out. Wowzers. Fucking hell. So yeah, the point is, the best thing to do here is really just have speed ploy, because that's more consistent than chill speed. Chill res, or maybe even chill attack if you feel afraid because you don't have attack ploy. It won't be consistently helpful, chill attack that is, but chill res will be more consistently helpful. just thought I'd point that out. Though the problem with chill res is it's not exactly available, so be kind of careful on that one. Anyway, moving on to Classy Otaku's Corrin. So, alright. What does she say? Okay, this is my female Corrin build that's almost finished. She's Def plus HP minus, and this might be more cancerous than the Windsweep build, which she still has. Her job is to take hits the bonus units can't, and deal enough damage to help them kill. Then debuff them and everyone around them. Brazen and Wrath makes her stronger the more she gets hit, and Wrath is there because sometimes I just don't care enough to ensure the bonus unit gets the kill. If needed, she can get Seth buff, and Res Smoke helps Niles get the 7 true damage against more balanced unit. Anything else she could have, or any other good teammates for her? Well, what I can see is the main issue of that team is you don't have a green, though that's not exactly too important. Ideally, I'd say maybe Raven could be a good fourth character here, because mostly the units you're going to be struggling with are going to be Legendary Tiki. Legendary Tiki is blue. She has Dragon Killer. You're not doing shit against that. You're just going to fall off and die, essentially, is what happens. However, Raven is able to just double her and kill her. Pretty consistently, too. Hell, if you run Flashing Blade Gale Force, Raven can just kill her and then back off. Safely. Pretty safely, in fact. So, unless it's a special fighter variant, which you can just bait then. So, who cares? Who the fuck gives a shit? But, yeah. As for everything else, well, rally defense should be replaced for a double rally, let's be honest. Seth is actually a fantastic teammate for her, because Seth, like, the main issue with your team are going to be greens. Easily going to be greens. The thing is, however, Seth has a TA weapon, and I know we already had this conversation, but your team is so fucking weak against green, this is absolutely vital. Running Cancel Affinity on him would literally cripple yourself right now. You kill your B skill and you don't even gain anything from it. It's actually horrible. So, ideally, Seth would want to actually keep his TA effect in his weapon. A lot of people seem to think that, like Titania, he was ruined. The thing with Titania is that she's green. There's not many blue in the game, there's plenty of reds, and greens just don't give a shit about TA. So, yes, her weapon was bad on her, outside of her being a support unit, which she still pulls off pretty well. Seth, on the other hand, is a good support unit that can also have a good color, because there's so many fucking green units. Hell, the TA in his weapon can just make him face tank a Surtur and take no damage once Brazen Attack Def is active. Which, it active itself, the second Surtur procs Sinmara, so yeah, no problem whatsoever. It's actually fantastic for him. So, as for the build itself, I would say maybe you might want to run double Brazen Attack Res, because, frankly, your defense is good enough as is. You don't need 54 def with a debuff of 7 def, because 61 def is totally not overkill, guys. Yeah, you get the idea. I really wish I had plus 10 Seth sometimes in some weeks, because the ability of just being able to let yourself face tank a fucking Surtur, deal over all of its damage because you have TA effect, and then just body it with your bonus unit because then you can actually double his ass, is fantastic. It's absolutely insanely useful. So, yeah. Other than this, I would say if you're going to be in arena, if you're going to be in arena, you'll absolutely want the wind sweep back, because wind sweep prevents you from doubling, and the fact that you don't double is actually really important. If you double, your bonus unit won't ever get the kill, or rather, if you don't double, you will be able to feed your bonus unit the kill more consistently, and just overall gives you a lot more options. Raph is not bad, but that's mostly outside arena. But yeah, just be careful with Brazen Attack Def. I feel like that's a bit too much. Running double Brazen Attack Res with Res Tactic, well, that would just put you to 45 Res. So, you know. Not to mention, if you actually proc Dark Breath on them, you have an effective 52 Res. Which, yeah, 54 Def and 52 Res. Think you get the picture. Other than that, not much else to say, so let's move on. And this is the last build of this time. I'm sorry I'm not going to cover 15 characters. No offense, but this is almost a test run for me to see if I'm ready to do more. I feel like I should be fine now, though. But yeah, this is CMA's Linus. And he says, "Hey, finally got what I wanted for my mad dog with this new update for skill inheritance. So here is my mad dog complete and ready to show what he can do. One build is for arena that has G Ingetry D. I'm going to guess you mean Green Infantry Duel." But, alright. And the other is for the rest of the content. Obviously, I did not really showcase the Green Infantry one because it's just this set with Green Infantry. Now, let's talk about this set. Life and Death Fury. This is a set that can work pretty well. However, I'm going to go as far as to say this is bad for him. You have so much bulk, and Life and Death just works against you here. And unlike Jinky, who is the type of unit that, you know, is a colorless, every bit of damage helps against every matchup, that's not true here. Not to mention you're hitting 84 attack, which is just ridiculous. Honestly though, if you want my complete opinion for this, what I would do, if you want to stick with this type of set, and obviously this character is buffed by Legendary Azura, moving on. If you're going to be sticking with this, you don't want Blue Flame. You do not want Blue Flame. What you want is Blazing Wind. You're looking at a character with 77 attack. Blazing Wind would literally crush everything. Oh, what's this? Asserter? Wonder what I can do against Asserter. What's that? He has around 50 defense. Oh, look, my AoE does 41 damage. 41 damage. What's that? Wary Fighter? Who cares about this shit? It's gone. The AoE breaks Wary Fighter alone. So if you run something instead of Trap like Special Spiral, you can just chain AoEs ridiculously well. Hell, you could even possibly just run double Life and Death and it would actually work. This would give you a bit more freedom with your set as well. Raph is not bad, it's just a bit inconsistent. Blue Flame is going to be fantastic for arena scoring because it's a 500 SP special, yes. But outside of arena, not that great of a skill. What else could you do? Well, you could make him a tank with extremely high attack, mind you, but a tank. You see, you have 43 def and 30 res, right? My question is, why Life and Death and Fury? Look, if you replace Fury for, say, Brazen Attack Res, what happens then? Well, it's quite simple. Say you run Brazen Attack Def and Brazen Attack Res, you lose 1 attack. 1! From not having Fury in Life and Death, because I'm switching Life and Death off of Linus here. You'd have 76 attack, or rather 83 attack when in Brazen range. That's just 1 less point. However, here's where the difference is quite noticeable. Okay? First off, your speed is way too overkill. You don't need 57 speed. This is absolutely irrelevant at this point. You are doubling Eirika even if she's buffed. Hell, even if you get rid of Life and Death and Fury, Eirika still can't double you. The only way for them to double you would be to panic you, which is not happening with 57 HP consistently. Not to mention, if they are going to attack you, you can't panic them. If you panic them, you're doubling them. Again, 57 speed is absolutely irrelevant here. There is literally no case the speed is going to help you. None. No case. However, what I will say is you could just build on bulk, like I said. For example, actually, let's do this, okay? Let's remove Fury and Life and Death. So you have 45 Death. Yeah, 45 Death, 32 Res. Refine the weapon to Res. 45, 36. Brazen Attack Res Seal. 45, 43. Brazen Death Res. 52 Death, 50 Res. And you still have 49 speed. And 83 attack. So you're basically looking at a Behemoth with 57 HP, 83 attack, 49 speed, 52 def, and 50 res. Do you see what I mean now? Though, actually, if you do this, you would lose a bit of attack, of course. You'd be at 76 attack. That's still not that big of a deal. Hell, at that point, you'd be able to run a lot more things, such as Gale Force and Aether. Well, not Aether. Aether would actually work against you. Blue Flame could work. The point is more so, at that point, you have so much bulk, and you can actually run no follow-up. That can be rather interesting. Really interesting. Or, if you want to actually really abuse said bulk, you could just run Death Res Bond as your A skill, and attack Res Bond as your seal whenever that's out, and just combo them together. And then, instead, for your B skill, you could run null follow-up with, say, Noontime, get hit, proc, get hit, proc, get hit, proc. But because you have so much attack, you'd be doing, like, maybe 30-40 damage, which means you're healing for 9-12 damage, when you have so much bulk to begin with that you take maybe 15 damage a pop. Take 15, heal back 9. You get the idea. If you run Mystic Boost, similar situation, just continue the same way. If you have Mystic Boost, you can actually keep your HP up, and that's why Bond skill would be more consistently helpful. Because Brazen would get hurt from you healing yourself. But yeah, that's just food for thought, I think. Other than this is still a good set, mind you. It's really hard to go wrong with those types of stats, let's be honest. It just... here's other ideas if you want to improve yourself. And I believe that's all I have to say. I'm gonna be streaming tomorrow, and I'm already late for going to sleep. That's fun. Fuck me. Why do I do an hour of Show Me Your Build every time when I do an episode? Anyway. If you want to join and participate in this, just join the Discord. The link should be in the description below. Other than this has just been me rambling about builds. See you next time. Have a nice one, everyone.